Hi, my name is Bill, and I am a competitive athlete, and I have metastatic melanoma. Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about a serious topic that is cancer in the COVID world. But first, as you know, we got a great deal of snow here in the local Fredericksburg area, and I was forced indoors to do lots of my mileage. My mileage challenge is 7,200. That's the number of people who are killed by metastatic melanoma in the United States every year. And there is a link to a fundraising page down below in the description. You probably already saw my video from the other day, pedaling on a snow day. Stay tuned to the very end where you get to see what my mileage update is for this year. I invited my wife here to talk about how our cancer journey started. And I say our because it's really a team effort.
And since this all started right as COVID was beginning, and we really didn't know where that was going to lead us to, I've in fact not been able to go to any appointments with Bill. So he wanted me to be here today to be able to share this at least together. So it's the end of February in 2020, and nobody knew where we would be today. But Bill began to feel a swollen gland. And we thought, well, I mean, that can happen. Maybe there's a little infection or something.
Or a cyst.
Right, but then after a very short amount of time, it got
large very, very quickly.
But we were afraid to go and get it checked out because that meant going to an emergency care clinic. And we were hearing more and more about COVID, and we didn't want to leave the house. In fact, the school shut down, and we were quarantined. And so Bill sat everybody down, each of our kids and me, individually, and asked, what do you think? Should I go and get it checked out? And each one of us said the same thing.
And our primary care doctor wasn't taking any appointments, so I had to go to healthcare places to try to see if they can find anything out. In which case, all they did is x-ray, and they didn't know what to make of it. But I was lucky enough to have somebody who I knew on the inside who called the oncology department, and they were able to take me the next day.
So you went to the oncologist, and they ordered a CAT scan.
And some blood work.
Right.
And from that, they realized they couldn't tell if it was indeed a cyst or if it was something more serious. And so they were pretty sure that it was a cyst, but they needed to get a surgical consult in there.
So the surgery was arranged within a week.
Within a week.
And at this time, everything was shut down. So we're talking about the beginning of March.
I remember them saying there were no elective surgeries.
Right.
And so for me to kind of get a surgery time slot, that was pretty significant.
A warning sign for us.
Yes, yeah, I was like, wow, this might be serious.
On the day of the surgery, I was allowed to drop Bill off outside, and a nurse met him to bring him in. The hospital called me. I waited at home all day, and I had no information at all when the surgery began, when it ended. They gave me time approximations. Those expired, and I still hadn't heard. And this was one of the biggest surgeries that you ever had because it was in the neck. I guess we were a little concerned about that as well.
Absolutely. And once I came home, and I don't handle anesthesia, and we've learned quite a bit about how I don't handle anesthesia since then, but it was about two days later, and I get a call from the doctor. I'm here alone, and the phone rings. And so I remember taking this call, and the doctor very, very apologetically was telling me that I had metastatic melanoma. And I didn't know what I didn't know. And so immediately, once I broke free from that call, I cornered Jennifer, and I don't know if you left a Zoom class or not, but we talked about it. And I remember most important thing in this entire journey was that Jennifer looked over at me and said, no matter what the deal is, we're going to face this together. Just take one step at a time. And so that I remember is a very influential moment of how I've been able to handle multiple surgeries now and deal with trying to live the best life possible.
Yeah, and that turned out to be really important for everyone to, with a cancer diagnosis, I've learned so many things, and one of the most important things is that every cancer is different, and you really can't absorb all of the information at once. And so doctors will give you enough and you deal with that, and then you get to the next point and then you'll deal with that. And
Right.
So that was a really good mindset for us to have and for us to continue to have. We take it one step at a time, we understand what's happening, and then we do what needs to be done to tackle that challenge.
Absolutely. And I think that once we got this information, we decided that we were going to go very public. Everything was closing down. My oncologist told me that I needed to go to a melanoma specialist, and University of Virginia was an option, and Johns Hopkins. And so not being able to know whether or not they were going to even accept me, that was kind of a scary thing. But again, like Jennifer said, one little step at a time. Make a call, make a connection, get an appointment if possible. If can't get an appointment, then call every day and see if they have any openings, of which we did every day. And eventually they saw me at UVA.
But melanoma is a skin cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and we've learned lots about how to identify, how to find tumors that might be questionable. But in Bill's case, because it was first identified in his lymph node, that meant that the cancer had moved in his bloodstream. So the cancer cells being in the lymph node meant that he was already in stage 3, maybe
As a minimum.
stage 4,
Right.
and that just really means how far it has spread. Melanoma is also a scary cancer because it moves very quickly, and we knew that, but we knew very little else. We're certainly not medical experts at all.
Right.
It was important to quickly move into a melanoma specialty center because there is a lot of research in new treatments toward melanoma, in particular immunotherapy. And so this is one of the reasons why Bill is very excited to take this challenge this year, because he was able to benefit from that very recent research that is being done, and so he wants to give back, and that's really important.
And for me, it was we will be talking about the immunotherapy in another session. So that was a little bit about how our cancer journey started. Now, let's switch over to talk about what my mileage update is for the 2022 year. So because we had a snow day, I was able to really rack up some serious mileage on my indoor trainer. But so far for 2022, I have 347.5 miles in. Now, if you really like this, please tap the like and subscribe button. That helps us get our message out to a larger audience who may benefit from similar circumstances that I've gone through. There's also a fantastic fundraiser down below where we're raising money for the Melanoma Research Alliance. So thank you so much for your support.